本当？見えないでしょ？どこにいるのかな？見えないよ。
I miss you.
What's good, Internet? My severance? Who knows? Check in a couple of weeks and I'll let you know. This is where I start to sob.
Oh no, this whole bit we've done of just the vibes of the podcast, now they've gotten rancid.
It was only a matter of time before the bits turned on us, you know?
This is the dangerous game we've been running for the last 2 weeks. It's like, oh, it's so funny, that thing they're doing. They lost their jobs and they keep doing podcasts. Like, ooh, they're so unhinged. And it's like, yeah, so my bank account might be unhinged in a couple of weeks.
Hey, wait. Is our severance okay?
We're in the company. The company's in bankruptcy. Like,
I know,
like I don't know, probably.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, they did address it in that email we got at, what was it, 1:30 in the morning Eastern?
Yeah, we intend.
I was up when that happened.
Are those
playing
memos
Zelda.
confidential? What are we allowed to say? I don't know.
I don't think so. It's probably... No, I think we reported on it, actually. Didn't Motherboard report?
Motherboard did ask Vice for comments and did not get a response. It's a very Gawker thing to do.
Jason's never funny.
There was strong Gawker media energy in that Motherboard writing out Vice's bankruptcy. Like, what do they get? Who do they ask for comments? Comms at Vice? That's... If you send an email to a comms department at 3 in the morning and they don't respond,
I love the... I'm not going to say exactly what the email says, but I do love that there was very obviously something that was copied and pasted from a different document because it's a different font. It's a different size. And it's just like...
Oh, you
wow.
noticed that too?
Yeah.
I pointed that out private to Rob. I was like, that looks like someone's been editing that document. Like, someone pasted without removing the formatting, which is what, you know, you can do when you're pasting.
Command Shift V.
Ren is pasting some screenshots from various meetings that have been happening.
Let's just say that sometimes people look haggard, and sometimes people look the sequel to Haggard. And I would say that we are looking at the Venom punished version of one of our executives.
The Phantom Haggard. Kojima's. Yeah, we're still here.
Fuck if we know.
The podcast pipes are still rolling. Rob declined the calendar invite for this one. He was like, "You're going to talk about Zelda?" No, sir. I will not be party to this. We're back. We're doing like kind of one podcast a week as we wind down the last 2 weeks that we've got here at Waypoint. Is it 2 weeks?
Oh fuck! It's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's this
3
week.
weeks.
It's this week, then next week, and then another week. That's still not many weeks.
That's 3 weeks. Okay.
That's 3 weeks.
Wow.
But I got
Really?
hey, wait! I just got really
thought it was
sad
2
about
weeks.
it. No, hey, wait! I just got really sad about it. I didn't realize it was only 3 weeks. Oh man!
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I was like, oh, it's 2 weeks, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know how to count.
Oh, I'm glad you got the extra week.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, fuck me, I guess.
Well, Thursday night, or if you're millions around the world, you've already been playing Tears of the Kingdom for for like 2 weeks now on an emulator.
Yeah.
Because when I saw, the headline of like person has beaten Tears of the Kingdom in 90 minutes within the first 24 hours, it's like, yeah, because that person's put like
Sure
200 hours into like a ripped version of the game. Not a chance they just figure that out on their own in the first 24 hours of the game coming out.
Can I take a moment? To shout out?
Yeah.
To shout out a real one.
Hmm.
I'm checking my notes here. Ricardo Contreras
Oh.
texted me
Mm.
at.
Are we allowed to talk about this?
I'm not going to give details.
Oh.
Okay.
Right? Like, I'm not going to be in the industry anymore. Hey, Patrick, can we talk about buying copies of that Broke Street Date on this podcast?
I don't care. Nintendo didn't send this early. Like,
That's what I'm saying, Kato. Okay, so Kato sends me a text. I was going to go pick up a notebook to play, because when I'm playing this game with my girlfriend, we are making a notebook together. It's very fucking cute. We're making little sketches in it. She just sketched the Temple of Time yesterday. It was adorable. And I also sketched one of the light root thingies because I think they look cool as fuck. But when on our way to get this journal, I get a text from Kato that says, "Hey, someone I know's coworker just got access to the game by buying it from this store." And then Kato sent me a message like 20 minutes later being like, it was actually this other store. However, I fucking sprinted across the city to get from a secondary location in Brooklyn to a store in Manhattan. I walked in, a man behind the counter looked at me knowingly and went, "Tears of the Kingdom? 1 or 2?" Because my girlfriend was with me. And he looks like, "Do you want 1 copy or 2?" And we went, 1. And he went, "Got it." And then he went and handed us a copy of Tears of the Kingdom and asked us for $75. Listen, I'll say this. I love the fact that, like, they know the score. That independent video game shop knows the score. If I didn't buy it there, I was going to buy it online at midnight. That extra 4 hours secured them a sale. And you know what? Good for them. I love to see a king win. And that king won.
I didn't watch the whole stream, but shout outs to Austin Walker for coming in clutch, doing a surprise stream with Kato to play some Tears of the Kingdom on Thursday night. But if we're all correctly, Kato, you were servicing a number of people looking for early copies of Tears of the Kingdom, and if I interpreted the intro to that stream correctly, you managed to help Austin procure an early copy that he did not play until midnight, at which point he could have just played the digital version of the game that one could have preloaded from the eShop, which I found tremendously funny.
He did try to open it earlier in the night. He like went in, but then the like cold open was too exciting. He was like, "No, never mind. I won't poke around. I'll save it for the stream." But he did, make small use of the fact that I went over there and dropped off a copy. It was like from Manhattan, it's not that far to get to Queens, It's all.
Is this different
That's not
from
true. That's not what it's not terrible. Sorry, we can keep going. I'm just saying that Kato did Austin a great fucking service here. I want this on the record because Kato does live on the other fucking side of Brooklyn from this game store.
I'm not saying from my house, but I'm saying from where the store was to Austin, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then on the way back, I was just playing shit on my Switch anyway, so I was like,
good point.
Fuck it, yeah. I had it.
I guess that is, yeah. If you're on public transit anyway, okay, all right. Well, you know what, Kato? Fuck you. Actually, you didn't do that much. Like next time, you're trying to help a friend,
Look, I helped.
maybe lift a finger. Maybe don't think of yourself the whole time. And the Switch that you're going to be playing.
Here's the thing: I wasn't even playing the game. I bought that thing Thursday evening. Do you want to know when I put that into my Switch to play it?
Well, Friday probably, because you probably waited to experience it all with Austin on the stream.
Saturday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
I'm gonna put you down. Ooh, I'm gonna get you.
Oh.
To be fair, my roommate, who's also a super huge Zelda nerd, like he like immediately opened it and started playing it while I was finishing other work and doing other things on
that's
Thursday
cute.
night. So it was used in my household, but I didn't get around to it because I decided Wednesday that I was like, you know what? I have one Divine Beast left in the DLC, and then I heard Hyrule Castle is not actually that big. It'll be fine. I'll finish the game because I'd never been to Hyrule Castle, and I'd never, actually beat the
course you
game at all.
Wait, so you mean you still had a Divine Beast left? You said in the DLC, so this is the Champion's Ballad. You still
Yeah.
had something to do?
So the Champion's Ballad is basically like another like go around of all the Divine Beasts in a way. Yeah, there's some like associated. You started it, right? There's these.
I started it, and then I got laid off, and then I didn't beat
You're like,
Champion's
"Fuck
Ballad.
it."
The whole idea was, hey, I'll like do 2 all-day streams, and then finish that out. And I went, nah, I'm good. Wait for the sequel.
Yeah. It's neat. There's actually surprise. The part of the reason it took me is that I didn't realize there was a 5th Divine Beast that they added in there. So like there was a whole other dungeon. And I also kept getting distracted because that's how the fucking game works.
Yeah,
Just
that
like,
would be a
shit.
problem, a game to casually just finish, because to do so would require mainlining, which is a little bit against the spirit of the game. I mean, when I finished Breath of the Wild, it was just I'd explored like as casually as at least I'm capable of doing in playing these games, but like played like 65 hours and was like, all right, there's a huge amount of this map I haven't seen, but I'm good. I'm gonna go beat the final boss and be done with it. But at least then I had like sort of done the big checkmark stuff and then could be through it. But if you haven't done that part, and it's like, well, I guess just along the way to doing the big checkmark stuff, I'll just do none of the small checkmark stuff.
Yeah.
That's just extremely. I'll just ignore this shrine. I won't do it. No, like that's not how it works.
Or like I like teleported back to Terrytown to like buy some arrows or some bullshit, and I was like, oh shit, I never finished this quest.
That's how it starts.
I got to 30 wood, and then he needed 50 wood for that last step, and I was like, I'll just gather that slowly. But then I was like, oh shit, I won't be able to gather that slowly because I'm going to beeline to the end. I should finish this specific quest now. So guess who cut down like 50 trees in one of those nights? So it took me until yesterday.
So you spent Saturday playing a Zelda game for a long time.
No,
it was just Breath of the Wild.
I didn't even get that. I didn't even get to spend that long playing that game that day. I had like a bunch of bullshit this weekend. It sucked. We're like in the endless move, the move that never ends. Like every single weekend is just mostly like, oh right, like our house is technically not done being set up just because we don't do anything during the weeks because everyone's just like too tired from like working shit that they don't want to do anything. So it's just like, oh yeah, we're hanging like 10 like things today, and we have a bunch of brick walls that makes it more complicated than if you just have drywall and can hang things easy with nails or whatever.
Whoa, stop. Oh, I have to ask some details about the interior of your home. Is it painted brick or like exposed brick?
It's even got a layer of drywall over it.
God, I hate that shit.
Which is why
ruin a fucking apartment?
I know, right? If we had an exposed brick, it would be 3 like beautiful walls. It would have been awesome. But instead, it was us drilling into the wall, being like, okay, gonna hang this painting up. Oh, the drill stopped and it's making a squeaky noise. What's going on? Having to go down to the fucking hardware store, get a new bit, be like, this is the right thing, right? Like, yeah, this one says it works on masonry. Figure all that shit out. Be like, oh fuck, we forgot anchors. Gotta go get anchors. It's a whole thing. Anyways, I barely ended up playing. Like, I honestly almost got to Ganon by Friday. Didn't play like any game Saturday, basically doing a bunch of errands, and finished up Sunday morning, and then immediately started playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Let me just say one thing on this brick shit. If you own an apartment or a building and you choose to paint over Brick, I will hunt you down. I will learn your true name, and I will hound you across this fucking earth, because exposed brick is very nice, and painting over it is one of the most deranged fucking things you can do, because not only do you ruin the texture of the goddamn brick, it's also always a fucking ugly grayish, and I will never forgive you for that.
Whether or not it's still a normal color under there, because we have drywall. In theory, if you take the drywall off, there might be some salvaging, but we can't do that because it's not our place. Anyways, it's Tears of the Kingdom, huh?
Tears of the Kingdom is out. We've played some of it. This was a question Ren asked.
And I'm out.
We've answered a little bit of this with Kato, although who knows? Maybe Kato played for 12 hours straight after starting it. But Ren, you had asked before we got started, like, well, how much has everyone played? And I figure maybe we'll start with you. What was your Tears of the Kingdom journey on Friday? I guess Thursday.
Yeah,
right?
I started Thursday evening. We started Thursday evening. We played through most of the tutorial island, and we finished the tutorial island Friday morning in like the 20 minutes before my girlfriend went to work. Then on Friday, I played a little. Like, we both played a little. On Saturday, we both played a little bit more. Saturday was a weird day. Sunday, played a bit more. I'll say this. Here's what I've seen of Tears of the Kingdom. I have unlocked 4 map segments, I think. I have been up. More importantly, I've been down.
Damn.
I've been down. Yeah, Kato, I've been down. I actually got auto build today.
Shh, I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, what am I supposed to? I don't know what I'm allowed to say. I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
It's all right.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
It's fine.
I got a cool thing when I went down by stumbling into a quest. I think I stumbled into the end of a quest chain. From what I understand, I just like found some guys and they were like, "You're the guy, right?" And I was like, "I guess I'm the guy."
Did you just go down like a random chasm, or did you go down the one the game directs you to?
Oh, I haven't been directed to any down. I just decided to go down. I got paraglider and was like, "What if I was down?" And then I did that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, look, that's how these games like, or this version of Zelda works. But yeah, there is. If you do the tutorial area, fall down to, was it Lookout Tower? Yeah. I think is that opening area back on Hyrule. Then there is sort of like a scientist who is like, come meet me at this one, and then you do a little bit down there.
Got it. Yeah, I just went down because I felt like it, and I found a bunch of shit. Because let me tell you, I love down. I love the depths. I think that they are really neat. I am honestly astonished at how completely Nintendo undersold the depths by refusing to talk about them literally at all. Only to then reveal that the Sky Islands that they had spent the whole fucking thing showing everybody were in fact a very, very small part of the game compared to Down. Because Down, very big.
Yeah, I have only scratched at that. I have only done like there's the tiny little quest chain that is just meant to tease the area. Like you head down there, you learn how to use the what do they call them, the bright seeds,
bright bloom.
In order to create little kind of like portable light sources for you. You enjoying that ice there, Kato?
Sorry.
Just like sucking out of a straw in the middle of the podcast.
I muted it on my recording, just not for y'all.
No, but not for anybody else.
And I thought I had muted you too.
We're just, hey, who can say
the vibes are good?
Who can say how people should act on a recording? Not us.
So yeah, I head down there, and then and then you leave, and then you when you talk to the quest giver, they're just like, oh yeah, come back later. Like there's not much else to do there right now if you're following sort of like the intro logic that they're providing the player. But obviously the beauty of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, is that you can just go down a hole and see what you find in that hole. So then, like, whatever you are talking about, like how grand it is, like I have no sense of that yet. So like in theory, it's like I think I'm a little further than you in like the directed logic chain, but you have seen more because you have gone off that path almost immediately.
Yeah, I fucked off instantaneously. I was like, I want to see what's down here, and went on a little journey. It's also worth noting that the depths are the part of the game that I am allowed to play without my girlfriend because they're spooky. And so I've spent more time down there than I would have otherwise because it's just like
the little demon goblins are scary. Like they're all red and
it's also
they're
pitch
a little twisted.
black.
Mm-hmm.
For most of it, I think it's very cool.
I don't know if y'all saw what me and Austin did, but
I saw a clip of you getting down into the depths that seemed to involve building a unique contraption.
Yeah, contraption. I mean, yeah, it's just three birds kissing.
Oh,
it's the most stable.
Wait a minute.
Flying form
God.
is three birds kissing.
Did you?
So you took the pieces from the sky, floated that down into a chasm?
Did you turn
What's amazing is that
did you turn a paraglider into a parachute?
We didn't have
the wing
glider.
The wing glider into a parachute. Oh my god, you didn't have the.
So it was like
4:30
or something in the morning, right? We had said like an hour and a half ago, we'll just finish this part up and we'll be done. But of course, neither of us wanted to stop, and just like kept being like, "Wait, hold on, what's that?" And like, chaining it all the way down. We got finally to the surface, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we'll stop. We'll stop at the surface. That seems like a good place to stop." But immediately come upon that
hole.
First hole, the hole, like the one where it introduces like, "Hey, hole," and we're like, "Well, fuck it, we gotta go in the hole." First off, we spent a good amount of time absolutely obliterating. Link just nose diving down into the hole a few times, trying to see if we could damage ourselves enough with a bomb to slow our momentum, but not enough that we wouldn't hurt ourselves. That didn't work. We just blew ourselves up a few times. It was a good time. There were a few attempts with a single glider that almost worked. They were so close, but those gliders naturally want to move forward, right? If you want to like go down, you kind of have to circle them. And there's not quite enough space in that first hole to do a full rotation without accidentally bumping into the wall and the glider falling over and then all hell breaking loose as you like try to clamber onto the thing. I love that they made the wings climbable if they're vertical. It's just very fun because there's always that moment.
Oh, it turns into a surface?
Yeah, you can just hold on to it, like climb, like you can climb any other surface, And so you're like in the air holding on, like I'm not dead yet, motherfucker. Like trying to like
let's see the physics engine render this.
Yeah, it's very good. I love that they made that choice. But then Austin fucking cracked it. He was like, hold on a second. If this thing wants to move forward, what about another one that wants to move forward in the opposite direction? And then what if we do a third one just to make it kind of stable in many directions? And it worked beautifully. First attempt with the kissing bird platform just floated down gently. Straight down.
KBP, the Kissing Bird. Kissing Bird I believe that was in a Metal Gear game, actually, at some point.
So, we made it down there way before, it was the first thing we did on the surface that night. And then, we, made it, then we were just like, well, what the fuck is this? And so, we ended up not stopping the stream until 5 in the morning. That area was, truly wild. Just it really brought forward the the whole attaching things to arrows bit is that's neat.
It's
that's a new way of being able to do the whole lightning, fire, whatever arrows, but the ways that you make them are a little bit more tied to how you're like picking. It's not just like, oh, I'm buying fire arrows. It's like,
Well, it's not just holding a torch. I guess I'm
Right.
gonna hold this torch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the same. Like I'm not lighting You know,
Yeah.
I'm not, like lighting torches along a path. It's like I don't know, man, just shoot it and then it'll make a nice bit of light. Like, doesn't
Yeah.
that make everyone's life a little bit easier?
It's
and
great.
it's also cool.
Yeah, it's also so cool. Just like the way that like it lights up in like a very specific radius, but the amount at which it like cliffs into darkness is so good. It's so scary.
It's larger than you think, but then the cutoff is immediate. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
it's not like a shades of light. It's like it's very
It's
bright,
very bright, and then
it's not
nothing.
anymore.
And then you're walking into black. And like you get like a small hint of that in one of the caves on the starting island, which it was like, oh, that's neat. They're playing with light, but then like you get into the depths and you're like, oh fuck, like it's impossible to tell how big this space is, and that's terrifying.
Firing an arrow into the black and being like, surely it'll hit something. Surely it'll hit
Surely.
something. Surely
It's
it'll hit
still
something.
going.
And then just see like a little like flash of light over a hill that you can't see behind. So you just see like one little corner of rock and you're like, oh, I have no fucking clue how big this is.
Yeah.
Let me try shooting up. Idiot. Up is not option. Up is still dark.
You're in
Yeah.
the depths. Do you know how depths work? Not up.
Not up. Go down. It's so fucking deep. Holy shit. I keep thinking like, surely this is the deepest part of the depths. It is not, in fact, the deepest part of the depths. It's so good.
Yeah, it just immediately obviously brought like the what's the river in Elden Ring called?
Oh, the Siofra River Valley?
Siofra.
Yeah.
It's just like that level of kind of like amazement hit again when I was like, damn, they did it again. Like they fucking
Yeah, but that
they
game
made-
waits.
Huh?
That game waits. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it pulls a different trick with that, which is that
This one technically waits a little bit.
I guess if you're
yeah.
a little, but
It also-
not that long, right? I mean, like, and also it can be an accident in Elden Ring, right? Like
Yeah.
you can sort of you could suss it out from the map. You know, I guess if you were to click the stick, I didn't do that. I didn't figure out there would be layers to it, so I got to have what I assume is From Software's like ideal version of its introduction, which is that you just go into an otherwise nondescript building, get into an elevator and go, why does this elevator keep going down? And then you go, this elevator, it's not stopping. And then it dawns upon you that there's this whole other layer texture to the world that is sitting underneath, and then you understand that it has connective tissue all over the map, and as that, you know, the vastness of that comes over you, it's a really wonderful feeling. But it's not quite directed, but it's not quite accidental. It kind of exists somewhere in between, which is a lot of how From Software design often works. And I think that's what's really interesting about it here is that, like, I mean, you can sort of get to this right from the jump, right? Like, you know, like you want to jump off the cliffs of the sky area, like make your way down there. Like I saw someone jump off the cliff of the sky area. It just happened to land on a horse. Like there just happened to be a horse down there,
Hell yeah.
and they were able to land on it, which canceled out like the physics stuff.
Right.
And they were,
That's amazing.
A near orbit ODST drop onto a horse.
pretty much. And there's something audacious about the Nintendo, a company that is like broadly known for like polish and simplification, but like not at the expense of depth, but like it's a different approach to like getting you along things. And then here, where I don't know, man, you want to just like go down to the depths and just start exploring? Sure. How deep are they? Don't worry about it. It's truly wild.
Well, the other thing that really gets me is that at first, when I saw the new powers, for a second, because I was a fool, I was like, wow, this feels a lot more limited than what you had in Breath of the Wild, right? The actual, like, it felt at first to me like the verbs I had access to were significantly limited, right? I don't have bombs I can summon. I don't have the ability to like adjust the physics of objects by freezing them in time and hitting them a few times and having them launch off in a different direction, right? I don't have access to those things. However, the way that they have just so elegantly transposed all of those functions into different parts of the game is just like really impressive to me. They have like taken the core notion of have a bomb that you can detonate at will and like transmuted that onto the time bombs, which I like really fucking love as a Zonai device, or the ability to like summon a platform wherever you want to if you have the right like Zonai object. And like, I just think that this is like a deeply... if Breath of the Wild is a game built around a bunch of mechanics that like come together in this like really like delicious combination, it kind of feels like Tears of the Kingdom is built around the single mechanic of what happens when object connect with other object, and like has like really shined with that particular structure.
Well, I think that's often why actually I had trouble. That's something that didn't really work for me in Breath of the Wild. Like what works for me in Breath of the Wild was the exploratory, like exploration aspects. Like that I found very compelling. But the actual powers themselves, like felt like they I think partially because I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, feel like it's just kind of a bunch of things thrown in. It's like, I don't know, like figure it out. And they shined more in like things like the shrines where they were directed experiences where we've built something around these powers, but they didn't really feel like cohesive, that they were working in tandem necessarily. Whereas here, they all feel like they are born out of, again, like you said, like what if thing attached to other thing, and they all kind of work from there. I guess the exception there being the Ascend power, which is a delight to learn. I think it was in. There's a bunch of interviews, so I apologize if I'm wrong if it's Polygon or Game Informer. But essentially, it was a dev tool. It was just hey, developers are trying to get around the world to test things. They don't want to have to climb all the time. That's annoying, which is like just a very funny thing to learn. So they gave them a tool to just ascend higher above locations, and they said, what if we just let players do that? And then that becomes a power. Is awesome.
Well, I had this like great moment with Ascend where I was playing in the depths and I come across this like big stone thing, just like in the middle of an area. And I like walk underneath it and it has like that sand that usually indicates that there's something related to like the Zonai shit nearby. Have you noticed that? Like when there's that like little bit of sand. So it has this like little pile of sand. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? I assume there's like a interactable that I'm missing. And my girlfriend was like, try ascending. I'm like, okay, sure. Link swims. It starts doing the ascension. And I'm like, oh, I'm surprised it's letting me ascend here. Oh, it's really letting me ascend here. Oh, I'm still going. Oh, I'm still going.
Oh, they're loading something.
Oh, I'm still going. And then I fucking pop up on one of the parapets on the Bridge of Hylia. Because the Bridge of Hylia is such a large structure that its foundations go all the way down into the depths through like several hundred feet of material.
Oh, and the game managed to like pull that as a spot that it could hit?
Yeah. And was like, cool, this is the foundation of this building that like you have no fucking clue how big it is until you are going through and like swimming up through what has to be like at least a couple hundred units of distance, and like popping up there and seeing the flame Gleelock sitting on the Bridge of Hylia was like, oh shit, okay, this is really cool.
I'm curious what the two of you made of the. So like there is, I think it was a Kotaku story, but like basically like people are spending a lot of time in the opening area, which functions sort of as a tutorial area, more broadly. But there's a lot to do that is beyond just like, getting the powers, getting your first extra heart. You could probably spend 10, 15 hours exhausting everything that's there if you really wanted to. Maybe that's a slight exaggeration. It kind of depends on your pace. But for me, I didn't particularly care for the opening area. I think the way it, I think this game crams a lot really quickly in a way that I did not find to be particularly elegant or effective. I found the amount of things this game throws you immediately to be frankly overwhelming, and it didn't explain itself very well. And it made for sequences that it's very easy to also do things out, like quote unquote out of sequence, but not in a way that was the fun out of sequence we're describing here, but like the frustrating out of sequence where it's like, oh, I just missed a robot explaining something to me because I walked around them because the game didn't sort of guide me to that point. And it wasn't really till I got down to Hyrule and things chilled for a moment. Like there's actually less going on once you get to the ground and you can kind of explore and start doing a shrine and build a little bit. Like, I don't know. I found the island itself to be like, I felt like the island, the Sky Island was, wow, you just finished Breath of the Wild. Don't you remember how that game works? Time to play Tears of the Kingdom. And me, who had not done that, comes into Tears of the Kingdom and goes, could you explain to me how Breath of the Wild works again? And the game's like, I mean, not really. Not super interested. But like, good luck though. Like, have fun out there. And that was just, that was a little bit of how I felt coming out of that. I've like settled into it a little bit more now, but I don't know. It almost felt like an island where we're like, we're not really sure how to explain this game. We're just going to throw it at you and like, I hope you like good luck. But I don't know. Maybe that was just me.
It's definitely much more dense than the plateau was. Like I remember it feels like the plateau was really a microcosm of like the rest of the game in a way where this feels like this is a tutorial area and we're going to try to give you these powers as quickly as we can. All right. Like, and like set up what is possible with each of these powers. But
yeah, the kind of thing where like you would have spent 10 hours getting this in a different Zelda, right? Like complete a dungeon.
Sure.
Get this
like,
power. Complete a dungeon, get that power. Like actually, we want to give this all to you in an hour.
Yeah.
Or depending on how quickly you want to jump from shrine to shrine and then let you get cracking.
I feel like even with Breath of the Wild though, there was still more space. Cuz I remember like being on the plateau for a while, just the kind of like they had the like what am I thinking? The like variance in like area design that like exists in the rest of the world. There's like some ruins, there's some like plains, there's some forest all within there, but it's like spread out in such a way that it feels like a little more, like you were still exploring on the plateau. This one felt more like they've designed one really big dungeon. It's like everything is interconnected. There's few ways that you could go like and quote unquote sequence break, but really like you were going to be moved from shrine to shrine and there's not a ton that goes off of that path. There was like one or two times where I was like, I found an extra chest or a Korok like off a slightly beaten, like off the like obvious like forward path. Yeah. It overall does end up, I think, feeling it's denser. It's more packed into a smaller amount of both space and time, right? Like it's all kind of like one right after the other. I like I said, like had just come off, right? Like I literally put down Breath of the Wild. Well, not actually. Now that I think about it, there was like a 15-minute walk from this because I finished Breath of the Wild on the subway coming back from an errand.
Nice.
Another thing that I did this weekend, which I didn't notice, my GPU had come back from the shop because it was dead, and now I've put that and 3 more fans into my PC, so that took up a bunch of time on Sunday itself too.
Wait, is your GPU okay now?
It is. It was the day before, 2 days before the warranty was up is when it died.
Hell yeah.
So I just sent it back in. They sent it back fixed, so everything's good. It's beautiful, and now I've got a bunch of fuck off LEDs, LED fans in there. The kind where the fan itself glows. It's pretty great. But I do worry that part of the reason that it died which maybe it was good that I accidentally killed it a little early, was that I was only running one fan, and because one of my fans had died and I never replaced it, it was only running 2 to begin with, and that doesn't seem like enough airflow, honestly. But yeah, running home after getting off the subway to put in Tears of the Kingdom, having just beat Breath of the Wild, it was, you know, like I was playing the same game, obviously. Like, all the control schemes started, like, nothing has actually changed until you start getting the powers, which are different, and that's where all the things start to kind of, like, shift. But having, like, literally played, like, done that transition almost seamlessly, I feel like I'm like, I feel sorry for people who didn't play Breath of the Wild at all. Though there's a few of those, like, we're gonna stop and show you like a controller on the screen.
This game barely explains how a game functions. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it is remarkable.
There's one or two of those tutorial dialogues where it's like, here's the buttons. Go at it. Like,
are we gonna, you know, because usually in a game like this, you would get, here's the, you know, go meet with the swordsman trainer, and like, you're gonna fight the dummy, and like, we're gonna do, like, explain how an attack and a dodge works. This game's like we're gonna show, like, where the buttons flash on your controller. We're not gonna make you do it because, like, go look up a video, I guess. Like, it's a little bizarre.
So it does it a little bit, but only in some shrines. Like, there are, like, tutorial shrines scattered around the world that will be
There's
like,
the combat. So I thought I'd missed.
This is how you do throwing. This is how you do dodging. This is how you do, and like, great, cool, bud. That could have been useful like 20 minutes ago.
Well, that's and this is where, like, the feelings I'm wrestling with about, like, that opening area is, like, there are some of the, you know, like, enemy, like, Zonai robots that you would come across, and the game seemed to be communicating to me, these are too hard for you right now. Like, we're trying to tell you that combat should be kind of scary at the moment, and that whatever that is in that chest, like, it's not a heart, it's not a stamina, like, it's cool, like, you're cool. Like, you're supposed to get your ass kicked here, realize that combat at this level of the power curve is kind of scary, and, like, know what you're getting into. So I was like, all right, maybe that's what the game is trying to teach me. And then on my way to, like, Hyrule Castle to, like, start some of the main quest chains, it's like, oh, right, this game has parrying, and it has, like, a slow motion dodge bit. There's, like, a flurry attack.
Yeah.
I bet if I knew any of those things, I could have fought those robots. But also, that isn't an optional shrine that if you just want to go to Hyrule Castle and you want to forget about that shrine, you can, but there's no signpost that's like, combat. Right. And on one hand,
here's the combat.
I think it's cool, like, to have a company like Nintendo trying to go more hands off is good. I just think it's inelegant. I think it's like a very inelegant introduction to the game, that when you get to the game part, it's like, oh, this shit rules. I just those opening hours I thought were very clumsy in a way that I was a little surprised by.
They really are, because, like, for context, my girlfriend doesn't like, she plays games. She's played games her entire life. She likes them a lot, but has always struggled with, like, controls and, like, 3D games.
Well, this one, oh, good.
Yeah. So you're starting to see what's been happening, which is that, like, so, for example, in an early fight, to reference what Patrick was talking about, the soldier constructs, right? My girlfriend fights the soldier constructs, and because she's nervous, because she's not the most,
they're
like,
scary.
She's not the most comfortable.
They got
with
big,
controls.
long arms, and they're wielding fire sometimes.
Right. Tries to hang back and, like, tries to, like, plink them away with arrows from a distance, and, like, totally makes sense. I get the logic there, and, like, watching her, like, get accustomed to the controls and then, like, still really struggle with combat was, like, a real moment for me while I was playing this game, to be like, okay, cool. I think that they are, like, fucking up tutorialization a little bit here. And also, like, I wish that the game did a little bit more to, like, gesture at people that this is a game about, like, if you have tools, you can do literally any combat pretty easily. Not, like, easily, but, like, with it's about preparation, not about like, actually, like, you know, being good at the combat. If you take a puff shroom you can do that. But the problem is that like getting the resources to make the combat trivial or like easier for someone who isn't as good at the game requires like going into areas that have enemies in them to acquire those resources. Puff shrooms and muddle flowers are two things that are in the depths that are really, really useful if you are not like super great at the actual combat system, but they require you to go down into the depths. You gotta go into the scary
The place your girlfriend is scared of.
Exactly. And so like I want to give her those tools. And so like a thing that I have been doing is like get resource and I'll be like, hey, by the way, if you need literally anything, it's in the inventory. You have the tools. And so, like, you know, that has been a very fun, cute dynamic for the two of us. But also, like, I don't know. I think that the game doesn't do a great job of teaching people the controls, nor does it do a particularly great job of, like, teaching people a way to approach the combat. Because, like, the other thing about Breath of the Wild combat is that, like, if you get in a motherfucker's face, for the most part, you will win. Your weapons are pretty good. And so, like, it's really hard to coax someone into, like, just go in. Go in. They will not be able to handle you if you go in. You are faster than them, and you have a cool human brain that can predict things. Like, taking the fight to the enemies is the decision in this game, and the game does at no point communicate that information to you.
No, and I just felt like that was my broad reaction to that opening area, even as someone that plays a lot of video games, like played a lot of Breath of the Wild, and even played a little bit of it recently. It was like, even when I'd go to like the next shrine to get the next power, I go, I just barely grasped what the last one did. And in some level, I wonder if the game is attempting to communicate, like, hey, don't think about, like, it's okay. Like, you aren't meant to come out of this sequence and feel as though you have any sort of mastery. Here are just a set of tools. And so but it felt like an area struggling with itself where like its intention is to give you everything as fast as possible so you can then start the game. It is running counter to how Zelda games design themselves, which is over 20 to 30 hours, you will acquire a set of tools that work in a Metroid-like fashion to like open up new areas and open up new movement and attack possibilities. What if we gave you pretty much all of that stuff up at all at once, and then, you know, we'll break it back down from there as you work through a quest chain? And I don't where they arrived at does not feel like, if I'm struggling with it, you know, I think the game's compelling enough that audiences will figure it out. I'm not suggesting this is going to be some sort of fatal flaw for the game, but I do think it's going to lead a lot of people. Like, over the weekend, it was a lot of people I know, colleagues, being like, I had to Google how to parry, you know, and like stuff like that. And it's like, if they're doing that, it makes me wonder about broader audiences.
The one thing I will say is that the thing that I do like about this approach is that it gives you all of the tools at the very beginning. And you're like, wow, cool, I have all the tools. Or you think you do. Because then you will come across like a puff shroom or like a muddle flower. And you're like, oh my God, I had not even considered that I could play the game like this. And and the thing that's been kind of amazing to me is that has happened in every fucking area I go to. There has been at least one thing where I pick it up and I go, fuck me, really? and because there's this moment of like, it doesn't expect you to have mastery immediately of these systems at all. And instead, it gives you this, like, it still, to me, has that sense of, like, exploration and discovery and, like, oh, cool, I have this new power that the original, like, or that older Zelda games gave me, of, like, oh, fuck yeah, I wonder what I can do with this. But it is doing it at a micro scale that is, like, really, really exciting to me and, like, and way more consistent than like older Zelda games. Because like if you got a shitty item in an older Zelda game in a dungeon, it was like, okay, cool. I guess this is the boring dungeon that has the bad item. And here it's like, oh, I guess this is the boring item. Well, if I walk 45 feet to the left, I'll find a new thing that'll blow my fucking mind and completely change how I play this video game.
Yeah. The other thing that's been amazing is I have done this a couple of times where, and this mostly happened on the opening island, but it's like I see things in front of me and I want to get to this area and I'm like, there's probably a real solution to this. But what if I just chop up a bunch of logs and stack them next to each other and then kind of scale it, but the game is clearly communicating to me by the fact that Link keeps slipping off it and not able to grip it properly, that like, this isn't really how you're supposed to get up there. And then like reading online and how many times people have posted like, I'm a complete dumbass, here's how I solved this problem, and it was just by attaching logs or some version of that, and then thousands of people going like, yeah, like, me too, like, brother, like head empty, no ideas, attach logs, and the fact that the game clearly is servicing just a wide spectrum of like, just the clunkiest execution imaginable, and that will still allow you to access things, solve things, and then also having, you know, very creative solutions. Like the fact that it's able to service both of those types of people, because what I worried about a lot is spaces, like shapes don't make a lot of sense to me. And you know what this game is full of?
Shapes.
It's full of a lot of shapes. And so how is this going to work for me? And what I found is like, well, shape not be perfect, shape still beautiful. And like that's how the game ends up functioning for me in a way that is, I'm still having a lot of fun building things and not worrying so much about, does this work? Is it functional? Because like those things are not, you know, don't necessarily have to be in conjunction with one another.
Yeah, I will also say before we go to break, last thing I'll say is that I think that the scuffed solutions are like some of the most fun shit in this game. Like the other day I realized I didn't have any bomb arrows. And I was like, oh fuck me, I don't have any bomb arrows. But you know what I do have? I have a spear, and there's a bomb barrel next to me. And so I guess if I just attach the bomb barrel to the end of this spear, and then threw it, that's kind of like a bomb arrow. When I threw the spear, it blew up. And then about 3 seconds later, a flaming wooden stick flies back at my head, and I'm going to say about 60 miles an hour, and just fucking beams Link. Just absolutely knocks him on his ass and then leaves a scorching trail of grass behind it, as I have created what is effectively a spear gun. That is also like, it is both a spear gun and also an explosive arrow. And then at that point, I realized that's kind of like a fucked up boomerang. It's kind of like a fucked up explosive boomerang. And so I start carrying around these bomb barrels and attaching it to the spear, throwing it, catching the spear back midair, attaching a new bomb barrel to it, and just repeating until I fucking obliterate a camp of moblins. And
Amazing.
like, that rules. That rules. That's super fucking sick.
Yeah, the other side of that was that popular clip going around of somebody attaching the boomerang bit to like an explosive barrel, like throwing it and then having the explosive barrel just come back to them and just completely destroy them. Incredible.
What a good
incredible
game.
Stuff. It is. It does seem to be a good video game. All right, well, let's take a break. We'll come back. Maybe we'll do some concluding thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom and our opening hours with it before we answer some of your questions. And we're back. Any other like stray thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom? Like, I'm starting some of the main quest stuff. I feel like I have a better sense of how I feel about it all when I'm kind of encountering the building and stuff out in the real world. I guess that maybe that's one thing we haven't really touched on, like the constructing things. I mean, I joked about being able to put a bunch of logs together, but like once you make it out of the sky opening area where things are kind of dense of like, hey, build a thing here, like, because it's trying to have you kind of go through the motions on a bunch of this stuff. Things are much more spread out once you are down on the ground. Or is that not the case in the depths? Ren, I'm curious, what has your experience has been like?
So the depths are really fascinating because the depths are even more spread out than like the surface. However, there's also like car building stations all over the depths that just have like a set of yeah, Patrick. Yeah, there's just like a set of wheels, a couple of like stone slabs, maybe a steering wheel.
Do they have the narrative conceit on the surface of Hyrule? There's the narrative conceit that as a result of what they're calling the upheaval, which is with Hyrule Castle coming up, creating these new shrine, yada yada yada, and basically the geography change. That like one of the the main construction company is like, here's materials, like start building. Is it just like a Nintendo designer's like, look, we got to give shit to the players somehow.
It's we got to give shit to the players somehow, but also like there is a sense down there of like, oh, this used to be a world that people lived in. There are like statues scattered around down there. There are like evidence that there used to be life here. There are like other characters using these things down there. You will find folks who have like put together their own cars down in the depths, and so like there is to me a sense that like, oh yeah, people are doing things intentionally. People have like chosen to build down here and like have this was a primary mode of transit for an older kind of being that has since like fallen out of favor and is now like really effective, because like the other cool thing about the depths is that it's filled with the gloom, this like substance that takes away your max HP if you touch it for too long, and also the enemies there don't do damage to your regular HP. They do gloom damage, which I think is really cool. Because like if you get hit with an attack down there, it doesn't actually affect your HP. If you have like missing hearts that are not like, you know, dead, like gloomed, corrupted HP, you won't take damage to them. Like they'll just get gloomed up as opposed to being like actually reduced, which I think is like cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so
that doesn't mean so much to me now with 4 hearts. Like I don't have a whole lot to work with, but I can imagine that once you start scaling along there, that becoming more of an interesting factor.
And there's also the fact that, you know, food will like heal different amounts of hearts versus like gloom healing, which I think is cool. That also makes the light roots, which are down there, like real safe havens, because it's like once I get under that light root, I get my HP, I get my max health back, and I can like recover. So there's this sense of like, when you don't know where you're going in the depths, there is this sense of like foraging and like going out, hoping you find the next light route, and then like looking at your HP and being like, fuck, I don't think I got it. Like, I don't think I can make it to that next little bit of light route. I think I have to go back. Like, I'm going to take these resources that I found. I'm going to like make some new food and like get ready and like try and explore this area again. There's that like, there's an expeditionary quality to it that I think was like really lacking in Breath of the Wild, where like you never had to return to where you started in Breath of the Wild. You could always keep going because the world wouldn't like push back on you in that way. And in Tears of the Kingdom, there does feel like a point, at least in the early game, where it's like, I don't got it like that. I have to return to somewhere that actually feels safe. And so I think that aspect of things is really cool in the depths. And then also the fact that like certain things protect you from the gloom, not like clothing, although I have heard that there is clothing that like reduces the effect that the gloom has on you. I mean, like, you can shield surf over the gloom. And so if you get to the top of a big hill and you see that it's like covered in gloom, you can be like, all right, cool, I'll shield surf down because my shield will be touching the gloom, not my weak little feet.
Wow.
Or you can find a bone horse and be like, I'm going to ride this bone horse. And you know who doesn't give a fuck about gloom? Bone horse. Bone horse doesn't give a shit.
He lives in the gloom.
He lives in the gloom. He was raised in the gloom. You merely adopted it, motherfucker. Bone horse.
Bone horse?
I'm just imagining Bane renaming himself to Bone Horse.
Did y'all
vehicles, same thing.
Did y'all get your horses back? This is the thing I wasn't expecting, which was nice.
Wide Eric is back. Wide Eric is back.
Wide Eric? Is that your giant horse?
Yeah, the fuck off big horse from Breath of the Wild that's twice the size of every other horse in the game.
I named mine
his name's Wide Eric.
I named mine Epona.
No, that's Wide Eric, idiot.
Hold on, spelled like this.
Stupid. Fuck you.
Go fuck yourself.
EPWNA. Because it's a big fuck off horse.
I stopped using horses in that game fairly early on.
Really?
Yeah.
What's funny is that as I was replaying the DLC,
you end up getting enough fast travel points, and just then exploring on foot was fine. I never found, or rarely found, that horses provided anything more than really like an aesthetically interesting way to traverse the environment as opposed to a practical one.
Horses have vibes, Patrick.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but the vibes are faster with the
Did you
blue
ever
points
get
that you
the
just click on.
special
You're talking about the motorcycle?
Saddle?
The motorcycle?
No.
No, I didn't do I didn't do either of the DLCs.
Okay.
So I didn't get that.
I think that ended up helping me use it a lot more was the DLC had that saddle and bridle where
That teleports your horse.
it teleports your horse directly to wherever you are. It's just it just
See that
appears
so that's
in front of you,
yes.
which is great.
So that's more or less why I fell off. It was like
Right.
it was just easier to fast travel and just muddle my way to the next thing that I was working my way towards. Whereas like I would have been fine to. They would have saved me time if the horse was coming with me. But
Right.
the version of the game I played, the horse was not.
I will say this, one of my favorite moments in like early Tears of the Kingdom was before I could find the fucking stable, because it took me forever to find a fucking stable. And I was with this horse that I had like gotten to be chill with me. I convinced this horse that like we were buddies, but we were not like tight.
Right.
Like the horse did not have a saddle yet.
Yeah.
And so I would like do a fight. I would like get the horse near the fight. I would get off the horse and I'd be like, horse, please stay.
Please be
I
chill.
am
Please be
I
chill.
am begging you to be chill while I go do this. And then I would go off and I'd go fight the guys and I would come back and the horse was like 15 feet over there. And I was like, all right, that's close enough. We're still chill. But every once in a while, the horse would like go over the other side of a hill or behind a wall. And I'd be like, fuck me, I don't have my horse. And then I have to spend like a couple of minutes looking for this dumb horse who I didn't have saddled. And like, I just think that's really fun. I think that that's like a cute thing to have to do. Is like find this dumb animal to be like, buddy, please, come on, we gotta go. Or alternatively, you're in a fight with a bunch of moblins and one of the idiots throws a rock at you and the rock hits your horse in the head and you and that horse are not good enough friends for that horse to let itself get hit in the head with a rock. You are not like, ooh, friends. It ain't like, you're not. And so your horse runs away and then you have to find a new horse. And I don't know. I love that feeling in this game.
Yeah, and we're just at a really a joyous moment in like Elden Ring had this quality, Breath of the Wild had this quality, Tears of the Kingdom has this quality where everyone's discovering it at once. I mean, I know the game leaked early and there was the art book early and yada yada, but and there was a lot of worry that oh no, like when the game comes out, will it still be able to be
Even with the leaks
fun
out,
and mysterious, and with all that stuff out there that I managed to mostly pretty much avoid all of it.
well,
My feed again. This is Twitter is bad, Elon Musk bad, but like the joy of like those sorts of social networks
Yeah.
is just logging on the like this weekend, and this will disappear in a month, right? Like when people go through the game and it'll be less frequent. But this one moment where it's just all I'm seeing is things my friends are doing, things I'm doing, things people are retweeting that other people are doing, and it's all just discovering how this all stuff connects and what's making people happy is just it's awesome. Like it's just so much fun.
it feels like at least maybe it's mostly the people that I follow, but it feels like that's the scene from fucking what is it, Spider-Man 2, where everyone's like, we're not gonna dox Spider-Man, like don't worry. We're like, yeah, the leaks are out, but like nobody's talking. Like
I think people were remarkably chill about
Yeah,
it. And you know, maybe it'd be the kind of thing where I get to the end of it and go, well, there wasn't. I mean, what were you going to spoil for me anyway? You know what I mean? Sort of like this has never been a series about. You know, I mean, I know this is probably the most story-heavy Zelda game that probably Nintendo's ever produced. It seems like they're actually leaning into trying to tell more authored stories that like have some gravity to them than has been historically true of a series that has largely been about like abstract mythology that repeats, as opposed to being more concrete. It really feels like
war. Fuck.
It really does feel like they're starting to pin this stuff. I feel like by the end of what is very clearly becoming a trilogy of games.
Do you think they make a third one of these?
They've already said pretty much
Oh,
like specifically that they see this as a format for the future of Zelda, and so I think that gets us through at least another one. But I really think they're pinning down like they've by people loving this world and clearly wanting to tell stories in it, they've sort of backed themselves into shit, we got to explain things. Like, and I mean, so far the ways they're doing that seem interesting. Like I like the fact that there's more gravity to the storytelling here. It makes almost like the inherent goofiness of a lot of what you're doing moment to moment, like more enjoyable because there's also like this oppressive feeling around you. I don't know. There's something about those two modes that work really, really well for me.
Well, I don't know. I think that like this has kind of been what Zelda has always done, as like these like duologies and like these short like thematic duologies and trilogies. And like I really appreciate them fully committing to it this time, right? Like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are directly in conversation with each other. They're about the same little shit, right? Same kid.
Same little fuck.
Right. Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, again, directly talking to each other, both about like these alternative kingdoms, both about like both you're followed by like a weird gay freak. They're like they're also like tonal diversions for the rest of the series in a way, and like aesthetically different. And so like they've done this for a long time, but like the idea of like really committing to it and trying to tell a cohesive story across games is I don't know, I think that's exciting. I think that's fun. And honestly, I don't think they seem that bad at it yet.
No, it doesn't feel forced, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as though like, oh, we have, because what gamers expect these days are compelling storylines. So Nintendo's never done. It seems like they've arrived at this at a natural place, and there's just as much here as it needs to be, and they've seemed to have leaned into it more with this one. But because both the audience is responding to it, and because they have a story they want to tell, as opposed to what Nintendo's done in the past, which is like, I don't know, there's a story here so that you can get from level A to level B, and it's fine. But like this one, there's just more going on, but in a way that I'm enjoying.
And they figured out the secret to making any sequel, which is
Make
that
everyone hotter.
That's Patrick. That is literally the word for word what I was about to say. You have to make everyone hotter.
When I make it to Lookout Tower and they show me the scientist lady, and I'm like,
oh my
god,
you just wow.
Let's go. That's a win. That's a win for me. I won.
Just did that.
I win today.
Everybody wins. Who are you horny? Like, don't worry. You're not horny for this person? Don't worry. Around door number 3 is a person that we know you're going to be horny for.
I truly feel like they have tried to court literally everyone with just 3 characters. Those characters are New Purah. Option 1. Option 2, Ganondorf. By the way, did you read the interview quote about the design for Ganondorf?
Like this one horny, secluded artist that's just toiling away at sexy Ganondorf.
We've had this pervert on staff for the last 10 years, and we've had to keep that motherfucker in check. And the joy I saw in his eyes when I told him to just really freak him up was incredible. Like, thank you, producer of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I really appreciate you doing that for the culture. Option 3, Rauru.
Yeah.
People are losing their fucking minds over that sexy
People want to
goat
fuck the
man.
goat man.
And you know what? Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you have the goat man. Are you kidding
Who
me?
cares if he doesn't have a right hand? Make it work.
No, his right hand is a ghost arm, and it's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
It's a sick as fuck ghost arm.
Imagine
Thank
what
you
he can
very
do
much.
with that ghost arm.
Yeah. I bet the fingers.
I mean, you
like,
imagine
disconnect.
that. You imagine. Don't tell me about it, but you imagine that. You don't write your fanfic.
I bet those like pop off.
Ooh. Well, they're gonna be.
I mean, it's
No,
Link's
they're like
arm.
remote controlled.
Something, the stranger, something. Okay,
Yeah.
Oh,
I might cut that one.
All right. Well, nope.
No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to cut that.
Cut it for what reason?
If you're not gonna cut me talking about Raru's robot hands disconnecting and like having remote control, you don't get to cut the stranger, you freak.
Okay, fine.
You don't get that.
Scotto leans back and takes a sip out of that goddamn straw again. Like being clever about like, I'll sip the straw on my way back on my chair, and then my mic will pick it up less.
It worked. It's
If I have
smaller.
to live in sin, we all have to live in sin, Kato.
All right, we're living in sin.
It's true.
Thank you.
It's the Waypoint way.
It is. Well, okay. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about Tears of the Kingdom as we have a chance to play more of it in the weeks that we have left here. I want to note that the EU did essentially give their approval to the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft. If you want to hear me ramble about that for a while, head over to giantbomb.com. I was on Jeff Grubb's Game Mess Mornings where we talked about that and a whole bunch of other news, but figured we wanted to spend more time talking about Tears of the Kingdom instead of the political bureaucracy of like the EU versus the UK's regulatory agency. But we do want to keep answering your questions. And so my mailbag, I did not get formally added to the mailbag address until 2021. So I cannot scroll back to all the way back the way Rob can, but I could scroll back to 2021. And so I can pluck some from back then. And so this comes in from Robbie in Akron, Ohio. Is that how you pronounce that? Akron. Dear Hey Waypoint crew, would you rather live in Europe for a year while receiving $2,000 per month stipend, or go to the moon for 10 minutes? Note your safety is guaranteed either way. Do we answer this?
First one.
We
What?
answered.
We did.
answered
That's
this.
okay. That's okay.
A $2,000 stipend?
Mhm.
Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah,
Wait.
what?
For how long?
A year?
A year.
A month? $2,000 monthly
$2,000 a
stipend
month.
for a year, and you just live there. Because if you say you live in Europe, that implies to me that housing is provided.
Well, it says your safety is guaranteed, and housing,
Is
according to
correct.
Waypoint,
yeah.
is safety.
Is
Yeah.
safety. Yeah, housing is
100%.
safety.
Food,
Food is
safety.
safety.
Okay.
So
I
you just
just
have $2,000 to go buck wild.
Yeah, to fuck around. Are you kidding me? 10
I'm gonna
minutes on
fuck
the
around
moon?
and find out in Europe for $2,000 a
Like
month.
10 minutes on the moon? Who would pick
Not
that?
worth it. No,
I think
not
I did,
worth it.
and I think I still would.
Cool, you're a clown.
Well,
And you
because
still are.
There's no other way I'm going to get up there. The assumption I think was that you get teleported, right? Or it's like some sort of
Yeah.
some sort of like magical. Like I don't have to go through the fucking terror and trauma of being launched into space on a rocket. Which
But that's the fun part.
that's not the fun part. The fun part is looking back from the
You're
moon
not gonna
towards Earth.
blow
Yeah,
up.
I think it's okay that in this fantasy for Kata to imagine that they just appear in
You
like
appear in like a safe
hotel lunar,
Right.
And it's like, oh, I could just sit out here
I
with a
think
cocktail and I can.
experiencing the awe of seeing the planet that we live on from afar is worth it, when I could probably figure out a year in Europe if I really wanted to long term.
What about the awe of being able to just kind of vibe for like a whole year? Are you kidding me? You're telling
A
me
lunar
I
vibe.
That is, but it's only one year. I don't know, like make it
it's
like
only 10 minutes.
yeah, but you only need 10 minutes to take in the awe of the planet and the cosmos.
Kato, I want you to be real with me. I want you to be real with me right now.
Yeah,
How much fucking awe are you actually going to take in?
I think a lot. I think a lot.
Yeah, 10 minutes is.
Everyone
It's like looking at the
says
face,
that,
like looking at the face of God for 10 minutes.
yeah,
That's pretty long. That's a lot of awe.
That's a lot of awe. The thing is that it is literally impossible for me to ever get up to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way I'm doing that on my own.
But you could go to
But
Europe.
I could go to Europe. I could
Yeah,
figure
it's a
out.
fair
I've
point.
been to Europe. I lived in Europe for 4 months. It's not a whole year, but I did that.
Like 1/3 of a year, though.
Yeah.
You're on your way.
Yes, like it's,
Did you have to work?
I was in school. No,
That counts.
no, it doesn't. I was studying art. I was studying art.
I don't know.
I went to
Yeah, then it definitely
museums.
doesn't count.
Like, come on. I did a semester abroad in Italy, and then after that, for an extra month, I traveled through Europe.
Mm-hmm.
It was sick, but that's doable. That is in our plane of existence for all of us. Like we
I
could
don't know
figure
this-
it out.
I don't know if
I
this
can't
is
get
true,
to the
but
moon. How the fuck
You're
am I gonna
right.
get to the moon?
I don't know if this was part of the conversation we answered this previous time, and it does occur to me now, after having picked it, that yes, we definitely did this question. But
That didn't work.
I
out.
wonder if a former, like previous Patrick, brought up that I think this question is easier for you to choose that answer,
Sure.
because you already did the Europe part.
Yeah.
You did a third of it, right? Like
Yeah.
Kata's European vacation, 1/3 done.
Yeah, basically.
just 2/3 unfulfilled. Thus, kind of already did like option A.
Yeah.
You know, then option B becomes more appealing. I've not done the former. I think I would do the Europe thing because it's harder for me to imagine actually being able to carve out. Like if I'm doing it right now, at this point in my life,
Sure.
like going to Europe
Yeah.
for a year, like I'm assuming at this point then like my kids' school is like a bunch of things are taken care of, and I just get to be there and just like
Right.
and as Ren said, vibe. That's very, very appealing.
Yeah.
Because I never did the European like sort of trip in college or anything like that. But I understand how one awes at the moon.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's just like you can find the face of God in a bunch of shit. You know, it doesn't need to be the planet.
Like the
Sure,
depths.
it doesn't
I
need
feel
to
like
be,
that-
but that specific one
Mm-hmm.
is so
pretty good.
unattainable.
It's pretty good. But also, like, I don't know, maybe, hey, maybe I want to find the face of God in the moments of connection between me and a random European. You know,
See that this is where we,
Just
this is
like
where
God
we differ.
intended.
I ain't talking to anybody out there. I need a travel buddy because otherwise I will talk to no one for a year straight.
Oh, that's very good. This comes in. This is new. This comes from Owen in Galway, Ireland. The Art of Not Giving a Shit, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Just Eat the Ramen. Dear Waypoint crew, what things do you not give a shit about? Which I feel like this is a question for Kato, honestly. Well, they wrote quick and then crossed it out. Anecdote. Once as a teenager, a friend was staying overnight at my house. I think we probably spent the entire time playing Kingdom Hearts 2 in the attic.
nice.
We descended. That's a very specific term. We descended only for instant ramen. I remember the two of us crowded around our bowls. We were at a weird stage then when we would cook the noodles without any flavoring and then add the powder to the dry, cooked noodles just before eating them. I raised my finger, about to tell my friend the best way to mix the powder in to get the maximum noodle coverage. He, sensing my incoming unwelcome advice, poured the entire flavor packet into the heap in one spot, grabbed the fork, and shoveled the noodles into his face, chewing aggressively. I do feel like at some point in this story, these people should kiss. Like there's a vibe here, but like I'm not.
Yeah.
Some noodles missed his mouth. Some powdered flavoring ended up on his cheeks and nose, but the enduring "fuck you" look he gave me is one that has always stuck with me. He flaunted not giving a shit, and honestly, to this day, I still respect that move.
Wow.
Over the years, listening to Waypoint, I've heard you all offer opinions on coffee cup warmers, homemade hummus, burrito no-nos, and best practices for drinking whiskey. I received all of this information gladly. However, what I would like to know is, what is something that other people like just so, but you could not give a shit about? Do you like your hot chocolate cold? Your ice cream warm? Your pizza with pickles? Your overhead lights on instead of your nice corner lamp? I will miss Waypoint sorely. Thank you for all your amazing work. Best regards, Owen in Ireland.
What's something that I don't give a shit about?
Don't give. I feel like this is Patrick's like life.
Yeah.
I just mean like so many times when we bring things up, your response is like, I couldn't care less. When
Yeah.
like we're doing
Yeah.
fancy like, fancy
So I
coffee.
spent 2 hours
And-
prepping this orange to go on a drink, and I was
Yeah.
like, I just drank it. I'm good. I just poured that shit straight in my mouth.
A connoisseur of AMC's theater.
Oh, I'm so
bar
mad. I have to
offerings.
get laid off and then don't want to pay for a babysitter because do you see the Guardians of the Galaxy one?
No, what is it?
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Or maybe I did. Is it huge? I'm starting to remember. Is it huge? Is it like in a big cup? Is it weird?
It's got gummies.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm pasting it. Yeah, here it is.
Oh, fuck yeah, this sucks.
Oh,
Mixed
that's
with,
right. That's right. I do remember
jam
this.
out to a 24-ounce drink that's peanut butter and
whiskey.
delicious. The
Peanut
Awesome Mix
butter.
Volume 3 mixed with Screwball peanut butter.
Sorry,
Whiskey.
there's Screwball peanut butter whiskey. There's also gummies, and that implies to me that they're fucking claiming that gummies could also be called jellies. And I just want to say, if you call gummies jellies,
Absolutely
I'm
not.
gonna ping you off the goddamn ground like I do Link. I swear to God, it's gonna be from near orbit. Unacceptable. Cannot call them jellies.
Oh my god.
They're gummies. Fuck.
Oh.
People say
Yeah,
anything.
I'm upset because there's so many like this year is, I think, the first like real like return of summer movies.
Yeah.
Like there's like a bunch of stuff coming out this summer, and we were supposed to go see this last week, and then one of my kids was sick, and we had to cancel the babysitter, and we haven't been able to set up a replacement since. And I'm worried. I think the new Fast movie is like the newest one coming out, like either this weekend or next weekend. I'm worried it means they'll have to replace it with some other bullshit drink. I don't want the Fast 10 drink. I wanted this shitty Screwball peanut butter whiskey, which I will say, if you've never tried Screwball peanut butter whiskey, it is like surprisingly decent. You don't want to like have a glass full of it, but as like a little shot that you like sip, you will come away from it going like, huh, that was all right. Like that was better than it probably should have been.
Who was it? Was Patrick, were you there for the orange whiskey day?
Mm-hmm.
The orange whiskey
Yes.
day was a real treat. That was a
Yes.
that was a real treat.
That was a Jameson's orange whiskey,
Yes.
if I recall correctly.
Jameson Orange over at Meckelberg's.
Yeah, a place I guess I will never go again. I guess that was R.I.P. to me going to Meckelberg's.
Oh god, I should go one last time for old time's sake. Kato, do you wanna go to Max?
Yeah, there's a closer one.
No,
There's one.
no.
You have to go to the
Gotta
one in
go to the
Williamsburg.
We gotta go to
the bankrupt advice
Yeah.
office.
We gotta
the
go
one in
next to the-
Bed-Stuy. The one in Bed-Stuy is actually between us. We could meet in the middle.
No,
We don't have to go all the way
No.
to Williamsburg.
no.
We should go to the Williamsburg one. I gotta go to the office at some point.
No,
Actually,
that-
I gotta pick some shit up
Yeah.
that I left there.
I actually think that sorry, it's become Kyle and I planning a lunch. I think that
Yeah,
Jason's
go
actually
ahead.
in town right now,
Oh, really? Wow.
or it was either that or he was in the LA offices. But I said I'll be in the office in 45 minutes in Slack.
Wow.
We could vary. I'm just saying that I would go to Max as a treat.
we should. Yeah, we should go to Max. We should go to Max.
I would inflict that upon myself as a treat.
I remember the orange whiskey. I'd love to inflict something upon yourself as a treat. The orange whiskey was it tasted more orange than whiskey. I remember it was we were comparing it to what was it?
I mean,
There was a specific like kids drink that it tasted
Yeah.
like.
we had it.
Shit.
I remember that we had it, and then
It's kind of like Orange Crush or something
Yes,
like that.
I think-
Is what it tasted more like.
I think Natalie took a sip of it and went, "Oh, this would be a problem."
yeah, because it doesn't taste like whiskey.
No, it does not. It does
Oh,
not even a
jeez.
little bit. Not even a smidgen.
No. Can anyone think of? Does anything come to mind? I mean, I feel like even to know like specific examples of a thing that you like that you know annoys other people. That has just been that's been a practice of this podcast
Yeah.
for a long time. Is just having examples of things like that.
I did have one for another person who did. It was actually ramen recently, where my
Oh,
girlfriend.
okay. Yeah, I guess also it doesn't have to be ourselves. If you can think of experiences in your life where people have done things where you were just rubbing your temples, please proceed.
My girlfriend recently, we were just like, didn't want to do anything. We didn't want to go out. We didn't want to order food. And then she was just like, oh, I think I have some instant ramen. And then she starts making it, and it's just freestyling. She's just fucking freestyling, cooking it, not setting a time, boiling water, not setting a timer, putting the packet in, not really sure when, just putting in an uncertain amount of water.
Hell yeah.
And then here's the kicker. My girlfriend makes her bowl of ramen. Okay. She pours it out, leaves some of the sauce packeted water in the pot, puts in more water, starts boiling that for me to make my ramen in.
Wow.
So I have no
Wow.
fucking clue how much sauce is in there, what the sodium content is gonna be. I have to just completely fucking guess on that shit. And you know what? Guys, did not go well. It did not go well, especially because I will say this. I spent a lot of time when I was growing up. My mom worked late, pretty consistently, because she was a middle school teacher, and so she also worked at Kohl's and still works at Kohl's. And so single mom works jobs, never stops. And so I spent a lot of time eating ramen as like a teen, and I got very fucking particular. So also probably autism. I got very fucking particular about how I cook my shit. If you get like a Maruchan ramen pack, here's my advice. Boil the water. Get the water boiling. Put the noodles in, not for the 3 minutes it recommends, but do it for 2 minutes and 30 seconds while still boiling. The second it hits 230, turn off the heat on your stove, but leave the ramen there in the spot that was once heated with a heating element of some kind, and let the residual heat keep it warm and like continue to cook it just a little bit as you apply the sauce packet, and then stir that shit up for 1 minute, and you put it in a bowl and you just let it sit until it's cool enough to eat. And if you do this, you get ramen it's just lightly firm enough where you're like, I'm kind of surprised by how pleasant that texture is. And that's what you're looking for instant ramen. At least that's what I'm looking for, is to be moderately surprised by how amenable that texture is to my palate.
Can't remember the last time I had an instant ramen, but I would definitely just boil it for 3 minutes and get it over with. This is absolutely one of those. That's one of those foods where you're just like,
I'm getting it done faster than you. And it's better.
No, hold on. The implication, 2:30, but then you let it cool down till it's cool enough. That's going to be more than 30 seconds.
Sorry, Kata, are you suggesting to me that you are not letting it cool down until it's hot, until it's cool enough to eat without scalding your fucking mouth? What are you talking about?
Yeah, you just fucking pour it out and it's ready. Done. One and done.
And then you eat it?
Then you eat it. I'm not waiting that long. It's ramen.
You're gonna burn the shit out of your mouth.
Maybe. No, I don't think so. I don't know. We grew up drinking hot things. This is the thing that we learned as small children. I don't know why, if this is how early you like get taught in other cultures, but Colombians, we get taught how to drink without burning ourselves. And there's not really a trick to it other than just like knowing
skin.
Knowing
what like
part of it is just knowing from the external heat whether it's too hot, right? Like learning that part of it of just like you can tell before you put it into your mouth that it's too hot for you. The other part of it is like mouth plate, like where you put it in your mouth. Like some parts burn faster than others. Like your cheeks are a little more tough sometimes. You can kind of put it in the side of your mouth and not burn your tongue.
What the fuck are you talking about?
True.
Oh, I went to chipmunk school.
Kato, what the fuck are you talking? Because this is you suggesting to me that like you have a secret to not burning your mouth that doesn't.
I swallow my ramen and I put it in my chip.
Here's the thing: the ramen itself wouldn't be that hot. It would be the soupy, the water. But you could start eating the
ramen's
ramen
in the water.
Yeah, but they're not the same heat. They're not the same
It's true. You can't take the noodles out.
You take the noodles out with a fork.
Yeah.
And you avoid burning your tongue on the water, and then you...
And you're waiting for the noodles to cool down in that process while still starting to eat the food.
Exactly.
And then you can lift the bowl up and you can drink
Then you can drink the leftovers. You gotta drink the leftovers.
I'm livid about this.
All right. Well, anyway, some version of this of mine is that I like to put ketchup on my hot dogs, live in Chicago. Fuck you. I don't care. All right. Another old... email.
You've lost your Chicago card. You can't live there anymore.
Oh, sorry, I don't like relish. This is green weird shit. I don't want it. Jerry,
isn't it just
right?
When it comes to isn't relish just little pickles? Do I not know what relish is?
It's sweet.
Oh, fuck off! No, I don't want that anywhere near my shit.
Sweet relish is usually what people do. There's unsweetened relish.
Fuck out of here.
How would you feel if you put potato chips, onions, and mayonnaise on a hot dog?
Awful.
That's a Colombian special there.
Mayo's fucked up.
Mustard. We're born.
I don't know why we do that, but mayo and onions.
Mayo's okay. I don't fuck with mustard. Sorry.
Mayo and onions is a like. I've never seen it anywhere else, but there's 2 hot dog places in South Florida that are Colombian based that do this thing, and we did it as children, and it's delicious. But I don't think other people eat mayo.
Guess I'll just have to
mayo chip and onion.
Trust the squirrel on this one. Sammy, this is from 2021, writes in, "Hi Waypoint Radio crew. Below is a very unpleasant question that I've seen / heard on various podcasts, and I figured it might be y'all's turn. I guess it's our turn in 2023.
Great.
A rat is going in your mouth. There's no way around this. Would you rather the rat go in head first or tail first? Thanks again, and sorry, I guess, Sammy.
Son of a bitch.
This is what you're saying to the rat? Or to Sammy?
I don't want to get bit. We're going
Does the
tail
rat
first,
have
easy.
malicious intent?
Oh, like what's the is it just
Is it just
an
a
like an elevator going down?
Yeah.
Like, hello,
Yeah.
like, welcome to your mouth.
It's like, I'm coming
working
for
my
you,
way down.
motherfucker. I'm gonna fuck your shit up.
Or is
because
it like someone's like dipping a rat in your mouth and then removing
Sure, but is the rat chill or is it freaking out too? Because then it might just attack me. 'Cause I would say head first if it's chill. I feel like
No.
just
Yeah,
because you
I'm
don't
with
want
you.
rat ass in your mouth.
You don't want rat ass in your
Come
mouth. I don't want
on.
rat mouth in my mouth. Okay.
That seems fine, but their mouth is closed.
No, stop.
They're gonna
Here's
give
my-
you a little
no,
lick on
here's
your
my-
tongue? Is that what you're
Here's
worried
my,
about?
no, here's my counterpoint. No. Here's my counterpoint. Rat, pretty gross.
Yeah.
But I trust.
mean-
I can't believe what I'm about to say.
Rats are chill. Rats can be chill. Is it a
I
street
tr-
rat or is it a pet rat?
I trust the rat's digestive system more than I do the rat's judgment of what it's going to eat. Because I bet the rat puts some fucked up shit in and around its mouth that its like internal digestive system and like immune system deals with for me. That's gonna there is an intermediary step of thing that is going to get sick before me. And so listen, Kato, I will trust rat ass more. I trust the digestive
It's
system. of that rat.
2023. We're eating ass out here.
Yeah, we are. Not a rat's, but broad.
I don't give a rat's ass except for this one. Next question.
We have fun.
I hope we answered it.
You didn't give an answer,
This,
Patrick.
No, I'm with you. I think if it's I'm presuming friendly rat.
Yeah.
And I just slide on down, buddy. Mouth first.
Yeah.
Get in there. Like
Also-
wave goodbye as the tail goes.
Wait,
through.
is it going and then continuing or is
No.
it dipping?
Here's
Is
the
it going to
thing.
come back out?
I'll also say, if the rat goes ass first, the rat has an easier exit method. Because, like, if you put the rat in face first and you cannot remove the rat yourself, that rat has to turn around. Do you want a rat turning around in your mouth? That is
back
not a
up.
large space.
I've assumed this was a one-way trip for the rat. The rat has been
Oh,
condemned
I
to my
don't.
stomach acids, and is
No.
good luck with that
I
one.
think the rat's being
God.
dipped. I think this
That's
is a dipped
horrible.
rat. Because it doesn't say you're eating a rat or a rat is going into
Guess
your
that's
stomach.
true.
It says a rat
It's going
is going
into
into
your
your
mouth.
Mouth.
And it does say it's just mouth, which does
Yeah.
imply to me like, and therefore it's stopping there.
If I was like leaning over and I'm opening my mouth and the rat is being dipped in, I still think I want it mouth. I still,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I
because-
I still agree with my assessment.
I think that the only thing you should really be afraid of is like the rat's
Yeah.
tail going down throat, but that's not going to happen. The rat's going to coil its tail. The rat knows better than that. It's going to go like in like the
What
soft
if
in
it
like the in like the
poops?
in like
What
the
if it
soft
poops
palate.
as
I've
it's going
already gone
down?
over that, Kato. I've already gone over that. I trust the rat. I trust the rat's asshole more than I do its mouth.
All right. Apologies to this like really nice email written by KT having to follow that. This is a new one. A little bit longer. We're gonna try and include some of these people being nice as we do some of these last podcasts. This email has some identifying details, but I think they're important to leave in for what I'm trying to say. It's okay if you don't read it on the air. I just hope it's not too late for you all to see it. Well, we're gonna read it on air. I started listening to Waypoint Radio in the summer of 2018. I had recently stayed in the hospital, which led me to switching from line to commissary cook. It was much quieter. Commissary cook? Commissary. It was a much quieter environment than I was used to, and I used podcasts to fill that space. I'd stopped playing video games by then, but every single voice in the pod had something deeply interesting to say. My list of podcast subscriptions grew endlessly, but when Waypoint Radio or its offshoots updated, that was the real shit. I now have several Waypoint favorites in my Steam library. I've changed employers twice since then. With each new set of difficulties, I felt consoled by the refrain, "Fuck capitalism, go home." And I was at my current job, the most bearable one by far, when I heard the news about Waypoint ending. I actually made one of those aforementioned career changes because I lived in Arkansas at the time, and the legislature had just put forward 4 different transphobic laws. Now I live in Kansas City. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And both Kansas and Missouri are both moving forward legislation that is obscenely more transphobic. It's true that KC is becoming a sanctuary city, but I've also found that being in a city where I can get hormones sandwiched in the middle of 2 entire states brimming with conservatives kind of feels like living in the world's shittiest castle and just hoping that nobody decides to do anything about it. So it was in the middle of protesting, crying, and all these things of doom and despair that I heard the news. But also around that time, my girlfriend brought up the idea of moving to Chicago next year. While the idea of Chicago danced in my mind, I listened to one of the podcasts after the, quote, reveal had happened, in which Ren, Rob, Patrick, and Kato were all upfront about their feelings. It had resonance. I didn't want to hear people talk to me like things were fine. I finished closing up, took my headphones out, went to the front of the restaurant to clock out, and what else was playing but Tracy Chapman's Give Me One More Reason. Look, I don't believe in messages from the universe or angel numbers or anything, but taking a big next step, symbolism of death and rebirth, etc., felt very significant to me. I remember the exact date of Waypoint's end because it is one day before my birthday. So, I don't know. Everything is sad. Everything is frightening. Horrible things are happening, and then something is happening after that. I can't imagine this is very reassuring to hear from a random fan, but I think a lot of things y'all have said have led to me finding my own reassurance this way, and I hope that's something. Thanks for the many, many hours of pod. Keep refilling those camelbacks in the drive-thru. KT.
Wow.
Can't stop us.
Can't stop.
Well, can't stop some of us.
Well,
Camelbacks in the drive-thru. God.
Camelback is particularly difficult too. I feel like a bottle would be fine. I think that's what I said last time.
wait, sorry,
can't.
sorry. Are we debating whether or not it's okay to ask someone to refill your?
We can't do this again.
We can't go
It was,
back.
it was,
I know.
it was a bad period in the podcast.
I get
it was
it.
regrettable.
I get it. I just want to know one thing.
But yeah,
Don't
if
do
like,
it.
can you like be in a fast food
Don't do it.
line, like at a McDonald's, and like hand the person a Camelback and be like, "Could you fill this up for me?"
I worked at Starbucks. If somebody asked me to put a refresher in there, I would have, my sheer anger would have manifested a 45 caliber handgun, and I would have ended them.
Well, Ren was on my side in that conversation.
I would have obliterated that person.
I feel like
Not putting-
forget. I feel like I forget if it was a Camelback or a bottle, because in my mind this conversation have to do around like a water bottle, like a thermos situation, like one
Still
of
bad.
these. I'm holding up my water.
Yeah, I believe I was in the. It doesn't matter. Don't hand them.
No,
your fucking
because a
water.
Camelback is fucking heinous. It's like
No.
a weird bag, like loose thing that doesn't work.
But it also could be this. Again, we're just reheating. This is a Camelback water bottle. Like we're just doing. We can't do this.
I just want to say one thing.
Ren's perspective is the only one that matters. Kato, you and I, shut the fuck
we
up.
I
this
don't
already.
get paid to touch your shitty water bottle. I don't get paid to do that. I get paid to touch that cup. I am given $7.50 an hour to touch that shitty fucking cup. And that's the only goddamn beverage receptacle that's going to touch my hands. I don't owe you like that. Sure as fuck don't owe Starbucks like that. Keep going.
2021. Jerry writes, "Hello.
Hi.
When it comes to special, just shout out to Jerry, but just saying hi. Sometimes it's nice
Hey.
to just get, hey, hello.
Oh, how's it going?
When it comes to special items given due to promotions, pre-orders, collector's editions, or whatever the case, what do you do with all of them? For instance, Infamous 2 came with a backpack and a Cole statue. I put the statue up on a shelf and it's followed me from home to home ever since. The backpack I used until it fell apart. On the flip side, I've met people who do their best to leave it in pristine condition for unknown reasons, as it doesn't look like they'll ever sell it. I can only imagine given your professions, a lot of the stuff is piled up, so what is your method of dealing with it? Best, Jerry, P.S. These days I do my best to buy everything digital and avoid getting more statues."
I don't really get collector's editions. I wanted one for
Mhm.
Tears of the Kingdom, but I wasn't fast
Yeah.
enough. My legs weren't quick enough. I couldn't get it.
Legs
the
weren't
only
quick
thing
Were you ever one of those people, even pre getting to this professionally?
Not really.
Just didn't...
I've never really been one of those people. I mean, I like a steelbook. Here's the thing: if
Yeah.
people just sold steelbooks, I would buy that shit like constantly. I would be so annoying because I don't know. I like the little metal case. It makes my brain feel good. The Bloodborne Collector's Edition. There's one exception. I got Bloodborne Collector's Edition, or like maybe just like the special edition that had like the little art book. There's a little art book and a steelbook case, and I treasure that shit. I think it's very cool. I like it a lot. But yeah, I fuck with steelbooks. Basically nothing else. I don't want your little statue. That's not true. I wanted the Millennia statue
Yeah,
that we got for Elden Ring.
I was about to say Millennia.
Yeah, I wanted that.
One day I'll find some way
No,
to
it's okay.
not spend $90 to ship that,
Okay.
and then then we have to find
It's all right.
have to find a way to
It's
do
okay.
that.
I think the only ones I've ever cared about were Destiny ones because usually they're not statues. There's like a bunch of other bullshit in there that's great. Usually books with lore on them and things like that. A couple of recent ones did have it, but I it's like if it's interesting to like the game world, like I would want it more than like here's a cool figurine of a specific character, you know?
So,
Yeah.
so you're saying that you didn't take the Waypoint Cade 6?
The Waypoint Cade 6 is gonna live in that building forever.
Yeah.
Gonna leave that as a
Oh
mark.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're- Kato,
100%.
let's just Kato. Let's have a real moment here, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We're not taking any of that shit. That's their problem.
The like
Yeah,
the
no,
like decoration.
No.
Someone's gonna find a
at
ghillie
Vice
suit in,
has
like,
to handle
10
that ghillie
years.
suit. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. They'd be like, wow, this kind of looks like
100%.
Leshy. Weird. I wonder if they ever did anything with that.
Yeah, I mean, no big surprise that I don't really care for like collecting physical collector editions. Like the rare, like exception I've made to that in recent years was some of the Elden Ring stuff. Which that didn't. The coolest thing was the blanket, and it's not even mine. My oldest kid stole that as soon as I got it. Has never given it back. She sleeps with an Elden Ring blanket.
That's sick though.
Every single.
That's pretty sick
night.
though. Like, come on.
takes it with her when we do picnics. Like it is one of her prized.
It's still within the family, at
possessions.
least, you know.
It is, and frankly, it's cooler that she has this blanket that she doesn't understand, but just wants because it was her dad's. Than anything else. The one other exception over the years was when Resident Evil 7 came out. Like what'll happen is like I do a lot of the press interactions or the PR interactions for Waypoint, and usually I'm like turning down like please don't send us like just send a code, like it's just so much, just send a code. And one time Capcom was like, hey, I know you usually say no, but do you want like the Resident Evil 7 thing? I was like, well, let me look it up. Like probably not. I don't need like a CD of the soundtrack and whatever. But then one of the things that was in the collector's edition was a miniaturized recreation of the house in RE7, like the exterior, like it's an actual
Holy shit.
like fancy dollhouse that has you
Hell
take
yeah.
off a piece of the chimney and then you turn this knob and it makes some noise. It's super cool.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
that sits up on a shelf. And part of the reason I like it is because it's just a creepy looking, house. And then when people ask what it is, I can explain it. And then yes, as Brent is pointing out, you can see the Disco Elysium jacket literally hanging in your closet behind you.
Yeah, that's my one exception. Is I will get nice clothes. If a clothing item is like well made, I will acquire it. If I really love the thing. That Disco Elysium jacket is my favorite article of clothing. It may have found me employment. So you know what? I think it's a pretty neat jacket, if you ask me.
I mean, yeah, I
have, like-
clothing in general. I'm more pro clothing than I am like trinkets and other like physical objects, like stuff like that. Like a good sweatshirt or something would be cooler than. That's harder to manufacture than it is to, a statue. So I get that.
I have like a fair amount of trinkets, but it's never from like a collector like edition thing. It's mostly most of them are like free and or a thing that I made from a kit, right? Like I enjoyed the like process
Right.
of making my Gundam kits. I did, however, snipe this thing. Hold on.
I'll say this while Kato grabs that. If I announce something really cool in a few months, you can thank that fucking jacket. That jacket's a real one.
I have this little the dollhouse that you mentioned reminded me of this. It's like a little room, a singular room that has a little Gengar in it. It's
Oh, this
floating
is so
around.
cute.
It's
I
adorable.
love this.
This was like from a
Oh,
set.
I like the little pieces of paper.
Yeah, the little like floating, like, ooh, there's a ghost in the room making the paper move around. It's got like a little window. Oh shit. Nothing's like
No,
nothing's
kinda
like
broken.
glued down or anything.
God tries to show us the cool toy and breaks Gengar.
Yeah. This was like in a blind box of like there were like 4 different ones. And I only cared about Gengar. There were like 4 other ghost Pokemon. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
if I get one of those, I'll be sad, but I'll still enjoy it because I like Pokemon. But I want the Gengar. And I stood over that box of like the 4. There were only 4 in there, so I knew it was one of these 4. Had to be Gengar. I stood over it for like a solid 2 minutes just being like, which one's got the right vibes? And motherfucker, I picked it out. I could feel the Gengar vibes emanating from this one box. I knew it was the right one, and there they were. There was the Gengar. But like for the most part, yeah, the tchotchkes I have are things that I've built and or have been given for free. I don't know. I don't feel like there have been that many times I've been tempted otherwise by little figurines in like a purchasing situation.
Mhm. Get that back up there, Kato.
I'm trying.
You got this.
I'm trying.
We're very.
None of it's
I'm very
glued
worried
down. It's just
watching.
kind of
No, I'm
sits
riveted.
there. Fuck. The
I'm
papers
riveted.
keep falling over.
I feel like I'm watching like
Son of a bitch. I'm trying
I
to.
feel
make
Kato
sure
could have
that-
just waited until the end of this
Hold on.
podcast to do this, but now,
Okay,
Kato, you
yeah.
have to do it
Here we go.
live.
I feel like
Carefully.
I'm watching one of our keyboard streams
Carefully.
again.
It's going back onto the shelf where it lives. We made it. It's okay. Everything's good.
Hey Kato, play
Yeah.
Ocean.
Okay.
And that'll be a podcast. One down, 2 to go. Well, 3. We'll probably do sports.
3.
We'll do.
Well, also
yeah.
we gotta move the
We have
number
3
up.
days. Yeah, we have 3
Oh.
weeks. We have 3 weeks left. Wait, were we including this week in the 3 weeks?
Oh, I was. Yeah. Sorry, I was like 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
what episode is this?
566.
7, 8.
We need one more.
Oh, so we,
We need
do
one
need.
more.
Okay.
I'm just saying we could.
I think we need one more.
Well, if certainly during our last week, we'll wanting to be promoting all the stuff that folks are working on. Whether like together or independently, and where people can follow all the stuff that we're doing. So it'll make sense to do 2 podcasts in that last week. So I think. Don't
Yeah.
worry, we can hit that magic number. So
I just want to say goodbye the right way.
exactly. I mean, I guess that sort of like to set expectations for the coming weeks. We things will probably be a little sleepier. This week, next week, and then that last week, hopefully we'll hit it kind of hard to kind of do a farewell. We will have some sort of goodbye stream sort of thing. It'll kind of depend on lining up schedules and figuring all that. But we will do a send off to Waypoint, and we'll do something where everyone can get together and we can do we'll do Snow Halation one last time. Don't you worry. I will. We will not close out Waypoint without doing that with one last instance. Make sure to go over to twitch.tv/Waypoint. You can see Kato and Austin playing 5 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, messing around with the intro to that game.
Five
trying to tell-
increasingly more delirious hours as we get deeper and deeper into the night.
Yes, and yeah, if somehow you missed it from earlier in the podcast, do note that started at midnight and went till 5 in the morning. As I feel like key to understanding the state of play of the 2 actors involved in that stream, and why some decisions may or may not be made as a result of that process. Last week, Rob and I finished up Dead Space. We finally finished up Dead Space. We managed to beat both versions of the game, the original and the remake, on stream. So we brought that one to a conclusion as we try and bring some of the different Waypoint features to an end before the whatever awaits us next begins. You can get more. Well, probably not much more writing about from Waypoint at waypointvice.com, but there's lots of good stuff there. It's not gone yet. Yeah.
You might get one more from me. I think
Tears of the discourse. Tears of the content.
I think there's something in the chamber. I got something in the chamber within me, within my heart.
And I will probably write a RIP Waypoint, something kind of talking about the last 6 years. So there will be stuff coming. I just I think you might get one more out of us before this is all said and done, but not a whole lot happening on that front. What was that, Kato?
I gotta do the pod post. I keep forgetting to do the pod post. It's been busy.
Kata, you don't have to do the pod post.
You don't have to do the pod
Kata,
post.
you
But
don't
it's
have to
it's
do the pod
archivally
post.
good to have.
Okay,
like, a
look.
link to the
Here's
thing.
what I'll
I
say.
don't know.
If you want to do them, I will help you do the headlines and the editing. If you don't want to do them,
Godspeed.
no one's going to be upset.
It's a little bit of both. It's like I want them to exist, but I
Uh-huh.
mean, it's not like a nice thing to do. It's just like, okay, I gotta copy these things, find an
Yeah, I
image.
hear you.
I
Well,
care
we'll
too
see.
much about
If-
the image, honestly, is part of the issue. I always take like too long deciding what to put on it when I could probably make that decision quicker if I didn't care. See, that's the opposite of the fuck you question from earlier. It's like I can't.
Mhm.
I want the image to be right for the thing. I don't know.
You should just pick a random image and move on.
Just
But you know
like
what?
a
You do you,
random
Kato.
image.
You do you. You do you. Our theme music is by Bowen. The track is Miss You off the EP Pale Machine. You can learn more at waypoint.zone/Bowen. You can follow what I'm up to at Patrick Klepek. The Substack I'm still working out is over at patrickklepek.substack.com. Ren, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ren or Raven.
Kato.
At @a_Kato_appears.
So yeah, that is us calling time on the podcast for this week. There'll just be one Waypoint Radio. I don't think there'll be a Plus podcast. Arrival is already in both feeds. Our thanks to the Waypoint Plus subscribers who have helped us make it this far, even if this gets us to the end of this road. If you're still subscribed, we have made it so that people aren't getting immediately charged and things like that for certain things. But if you're, still in the loop and want them ad free, you'll still be getting that stuff through the Waypoint Plus feed. Normally I'd say we'll talk to you again on Friday, but that's not true. We won't. We will not be talking to you on Friday. We will be talking to you next week. Until then, truly fuck capitalism. Go home.